Hey guys, today I want to do a video talking about gear. I know that buying new gear can be a big challenge, especially if it's your first setup. When you go to a website, there's so many different things listed on there for specs. It can kind of be overwhelming, and there's so many options out there that can be really hard to know what to pick. I've been through this process myself. I know a lot of people have, and it can be really stressful, and it's a lot of money that you're putting into your equipment, and you want to know that you're getting the right thing for you. So I just want to kind of show you guys my gear and talk about what's important to me. Gear, everyone kind of has different opinions about it, and really it's just about what you like and what you're comfortable with. But I'm going to kind of tell you what I think and kind of what my feeling is as an instructor, coming from that background, what I feel is important, and hopefully you guys find this helpful. So I'm going to start with my boots. Unfortunately, I'm quarantined away from my full setup, so I only have one pair of everything. I don't have my old gear with me, but this is the boot that I ride right now. This is the 32 STW, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how I ended up with this boot and what I like about it. So the way that I picked a boot is I went around to every single store I could find and tried on every single boot I could find. And the reason that I did that is because the first time I bought gear and I had no idea what I was buying. I just ordered stuff online because I kind of thought, whatever, like, it's all the same, it doesn't matter. And the boots that I got were single boa, right? Which, if you've ever had a boa, it's the little wheelie guy on the front. You give it a twist. It was a single boa, and what happened is that it tightened too much around the calf and not enough around the ankle and the foot. And so whenever I tried to tighten it down, I would get really bad cramps in my calves, and I felt like my foot was floating. So they were really uncomfortable, really made it difficult for me to be successful in progressing my snowboarding. So I just want to share that to hopefully encourage people to try stuff on, not just to order online, because you can kind of end up with something that, and you won't even know. You'll try it on once, you're like, oh, this is great, and then you go out and ride with it for a while, and it turns out it's awful. And that can still happen, right, if you try stuff on the store, but hopefully the tips I give you today will mitigate the risk that you end up with something that you don't like. So this is the 32 STW. This is the lace-up, as you can see. And again, what I like about the lace-up is that it really allows me to tighten every part of this boot, right? If I want it tighter down here, a little looser up top, I can do that. And I don't feel like it pinches me the ways that the boa do. The second boot that I had was a Ride Cadence, which is a double boa. And the nice thing is that those bows are really easy to adjust, right? Super quick, you just pop the thing in, give it a couple twists, and you're good to go. And with the double boa, it was a little more adjustable. It did make it easier for me to tighten lower down and not too much up top, so I didn't feel that same kind of issue. But another thing about the bows is they do slip a little bit from my experience. So that's one thing that you can look at when you're looking to buy your boots, is what kind of system does it have. If the most important thing for you is that ease of adjustability, you want to be able to tighten and loosen it really quickly, then you can consider the boas. There's nothing wrong with them, but I would point you towards double boa over a single boa because of the issues I had with the restriction in the calf. The lace-ups are, as I said, they hold very well and they are pretty adjustable, but they are a little more time consuming, right? I can't just pop my foot in and snap it on like I used to be able to. It takes more time, but for me it's worth it. I put it on once and I'm in it all day. I don't really unlace it much because honestly they're pretty comfortable for me at this point. During the break-in period, the first 2 weeks or so, I was definitely taking them on and off a lot, but I'm at the point now where I can put these on and wear them all day and they're perfectly fine. Another one that I've never had is called the quick lace, or speed lace, I think, and it's kind of like a combo of the two, where kind of looks like a lace-up system, then it just cinches up really tight. And I've heard good things about those. I don't have any personal experience with them, but I definitely would recommend that you try them on. I have tried them before and they seem fine. I've just never ridden with them. But I've heard pretty much good things, so I don't have anything bad to say about them. Obviously, when it comes to boots, the most important thing is going to be comfort, right? Which is why I recommend that you go around and try on as many as you can. If the boot isn't comfortable, you're not going to have a good time riding. And that's pretty much all that snowboarding is about, right? Is having a good time. So really make sure that you get the most comfortable boots. And that's another thing that I like about these guys, that they're heat moldable. So they a lot of times you go to a store and they'll allow you, once you've purchased the boot, they'll take out the liner and they'll put it in like an oven basically, and it molds it to your foot, which can really help with the break-in process. Like I said, for me, especially with 32s, it's about 2 weeks of pretty painful riding while your foot's trying to break the boot in. So don't give up on that. Obviously, if there's like, what you don't want is like pressure points, right? If it's like there's like one spot that's like a big issue, right? If it's too narrow for your foot maybe, or too wide and your foot's like floating around, those are things to be aware of when you're trying it on. But if you feel like it's just like it's really tight, that can be part of the break-in process. But usually you'll only notice that after you've been riding for a while. So if you initially put your boot on, it should be comfortable initially, right? But that being said, when you go to the store and you try on your boots, make sure you walk around in them for a bit, leave them on for a while, just to make sure those pressure points don't develop. Another thing that I really like about 32s, I can show you guys this. Take this guy out of here, right? So this is my liner. It's a little attached here. What's really cool is that 32 has these inserts here, right? So these guys are these little donuts, and there's a thicker one and a thinner one. And what these do is they really help with the heel hold. So what's really neat is they have this slit here where you can slide in either the thinner one, the thicker one, or both. And I choose both because I really want my foot to be really nice and tucked in there. But obviously if you have like a thicker ankle than I do, or that's not comfortable, you can decrease the size or use none at all. And this is probably the most important thing for me about these, because in the past, you know, when I'm railing on a toe turn, I've definitely had boots, even when they're tightened down as much as possible, where I can feel my heel start to lift out of the back, and I really don't like that. So for me, these boots are really great because, and all 32 boots have this, because I can have that extra heel hold by having these guys in there. And they have it on both sides of the boot in the liner. Alright, so the last thing that I look for when I'm trying on a new pair of boots is the flex. The flex to me is really, really important, especially because I ride a lot and I like to do park and stuff, so I really need to make sure that I have the support that I need. And this is one of the biggest gripes that I have with the snowboarding industry as far as production of female equipment, is that they tend to make boots that are really soft. I guess the assumption is that women are smaller and weaker and don't need as much support. I don't know, I don't really get it. It's really frustrating because there's so few brands that even make a stiff enough boot for me. I don't know if you can see these like giant quads, but something that's soft, it's not gonna work at all. And so what I do is, you can see I have my boot on here, so I get it laced up, and then all I do, step back so you guys can see, is I just drive my knee forward over my toe as much as I can, and I squish it as hard as possible. And if you can see, this boot it's actually holding up pretty well, right? So I'm able to go until it kind of catches me. I'm not able to push it all the way down until it's hurting my ankle. And that might seem obvious, like you might think, yeah, like of course, like a snowboard shouldn't let you push your knee all the way down until you're crushing your own ankle. But actually, I've had that experience trying on a lot of women's boots. And one might make the suggestion of, oh, you could try using men's gear, and I have. And what happens is that even when the boot's the right size for me, the back part comes up too much and it gives me cramps in my calves. So I don't necessarily recommend going to a men's boot just because women's boots are mostly softer, even though I've been tempted in the past. So you might think maybe a stiff boot's not for me. I don't ride that much, I don't do park. And that's okay. You might want to go to a medium stiff, that's totally fine, but I really, really recommend that you don't buy a boot that's categorized as soft, because there's a lot of G-forces involved in snowboarding. Even if you're not hitting jumps, you're still moving, and it's still a very dynamic sport, especially on a toe turn, right? I'm here on my toe edge, right? All this weight is right here, and I really want that boot to be supporting me. I don't want my ankle to be uncomfortable. I want it to be in a really good position, and you know, I've ridden in boots before that are really, really soft because I've worn them in so much, and I actually did hurt my ankles landing on something flat because of that. It's just not comfortable to ride around in really soft boots, so even if you try on a softer boot and you feel it, the flex for you, and you feel like, wow, this is actually exactly what I want, just know that it's only going to get softer from there. So if you kind of start at the bottom, right, you're just going to keep going down. So it's better to start a little bit more up here as far as the flex goes. That's just my opinion. So the only thing that's might not be great about a stiffer boot, and the reason that some people don't like them, is because when you initially get a stiff boot, you'll find that it's extremely responsive, which I think is a good thing, but it will kind of make you fall a little bit. It definitely, every time I get a new pair of boots I'm not familiar with, and I'll definitely eat it a couple times, because when you have something so stiff like that, just a little bit of pressure is really going to turn your board, right? Because you don't have that extra leeway of a softer boot that allows you to kind of move around a lot without it affecting your board. But personally, I think that's a great thing about them, is that I don't want to have to do a big movement to turn where I want to go, right? But you just need to be really careful and just know that like really small, precise movements are what's going to get you there. Whereas if you were used to using a really soft boot, the movements you did before in that are going to do way more than you're looking for. But just give it some time. If you get a stiff boot and you're freaking out because you're falling left and right, please give it some time. Know that that stiffer boot is going to break in a bit, and it takes some getting used to. So hopefully that's helpful. Just a recap of things to look for in boots. Number one, comfort and fit. You want to make sure that your foot feels good in there and that you're going to like wearing them. Number two, lacing system that works. I recommend against a single boa, but double boas, laces, quick speed lace are all decent uses. And thirdly, flex. Please go for something stiffer. Do not get the softest boot on the market. I can almost guarantee if you ride more than 5 days that year, it's not going to do very well. Alright, so I was planning to do a whole video talking about gear, but apparently I can talk for 12 minutes about boots alone, so I'm going to include the other parts about bindings and boards in another video that I'll hopefully publish sometime, maybe next week. Thank you guys for all your support on my last video. Let me know if you guys have any questions. You can follow me on Instagram, SAR Winchester. I'm happy to answer any questions. Hope you all doing alright. I'll talk to you all later.